find some peace of mind for all I've left behind. Been looking for love, sweet love, in all the wrong places.
Walt Disney said, if you can first dream it, you can achieve it. Now, we all know life is not easy, and it's certainly not fair. Even when things look dismal, hold on to your dream. Great accomplishments come from great adversity. Now, this is my guest, Eyra Moon's story. She faced overwhelming adversity before developing a strong connection with the universe. And she is now living her life purpose that appears even more powerful than her original dream to be a composer, a singer, and a musician. She discovered music is a very powerful healing tool, but there's more. There's just so much more. My name's Frank Zaccari. This is Energy Healing and Integrative Wellness. My associates and I are putting together a plan for wellness centers that will provide an integration of complementary energy and alternative wellness. This is how I met Eyra. She has such a powerful story, so let's get right to it. Eyra, welcome to Energy Healing and Integrative Wellness.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited because the whole world is so ready for this, right?
Exactly. Just before we went on the air, Eyra and I were talking about the energy of self-love. Touch on that, would you?
Oh my, can we talk about that all day? It's my favorite topic.
Sure.
Surely because I didn't have any of it, or so I thought. So my mind thought, I should say. I've been looking for self-love in all the wrong places.
It's like the song.
It's called self-love, So, yeah. And I now am finally discovering that is such a powerful energy. That when you find self-love and just by being self-love, you inspire others, and other people may want to feel that too, because we're almost all of us have not been brought up with a lot of it.
Yes.
So it's sort of a search, and in the beginning we start to search for love with people, with other people, with confirmation. That usually doesn't work, and so if we hit the wall very hard, then we start looking inside where it is. And I discovered now, as the story will go, that once you are finally in that state, you inspire so much more people, and then everything starts flowing. Also the finances, the friendship relationships, your connection with the intuition, your life purpose, everything. It's a miraculous thing.
As spirits and teachers, high upon a mountaintop, seekers in disguise, were lost as well to my surprise. Been looking for answers high above about love, sweet love. Been running all night, high as a kite. Once I listened to the birds high up in the trees, who were singing my song with 1,000 whispering leaves. There I found my love, sweet love, in all its different faces.
It's incredible. When we spoke earlier, you had said at a very early age you had this fascination with music, but you were pushing it away. You were pushing away who you were.
Yeah.
Is that correct? And then a number of not so good things occurred.
Yeah, not just music. Also, it was actually all the good things. So it was music, and it was the right relationships I pushed away, and it was my ability to tune into stuff and to see, how do I say them, things that we cannot usually see with our human eye. So I saw energies and I saw lies. I saw when people were lying. and I've seen some energies and around trees and people and strange things, and that I also pushed away. So in that, I was actually rejecting who I really am.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Your journey, you had a lot of challenging events that would have probably taken up. A lot of people could not have recovered from some of the things you told me. And then you see if you found a way. And then you said, I became soul-led. So
Yes.
what is soul-led?
Soul-led is living as much as you can without a plan. And that sounds very naive. So let me explain. Of course, I have plans. I have a calendar and I have appointments. And otherwise, I would not be here on time with
That's
you.
right.
But let's say that something happened today and my soul would say, I'm very sorry for Frank, but you have to cancel the meeting because something more important has come up.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would really weigh it down. And the most beautiful thing is that we are learned at school, and our parents and everybody with beautiful intentions, by the way, mostly. They teach us how to follow rules of society, and often, of institutes that happened like millions of years ago, and we're still following up those rules. But times change. We have evolved, and the whole planet is evolving. So how can you still hold on to those old ideas? So what I usually do lately, as I've learned throughout my journey, is to sit in the morning and ask, okay, now what? And then my intuition will speak. And sometimes it says, today you do not do anything. You start with a warm bath. But it's a Monday, I should work, right? Do I have something in my calendar? Yeah, you have at 1:00. So until 1, you can go into bath. Or go to the forest and, oh, by the way, bring your camera. And you go to the forest and there they are, like 20 deer or so in the middle of the mating season. And you have the most beautiful shots ever. And your heart opens up from everything that's happening. That was not in my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's being soul-led. What's in my highest good? And always in the highest good of all. Because it cannot be an egocentric kind of thing, because that's not living in truth, and that's not being soul-led.
Mm-hmm.
So it must be in the highest good of all.
When we spoke a couple of weeks ago, and you were talking about the connections, you were homeless for a while, and the connections you were making with complete strangers, and then you had a bird on a pole story. Share that story.
Okay. So I had, because of beliefs, many beliefs, I'm not good enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I am not lovable. I should wait for the wrong people to fall in love with me. And my life went down the drain. And before I knew it, as you said, I had absolutely nothing anymore. And it made me so numb, because I really felt that one person was the love of my life. And we had such a great time together, such an incredible connection, that I could not understand the universe why they would take that away from me. And so when I finally lost everything, I had at least an old camper van, so I could have a car and a house. And the Netherlands is very wet always.
Yes.
And cold. So in September already, I had to get the hell out of here, because it wasn't healthy to stay in a camper van that was 41 years old. I drove all the way to the south, and I felt, do you want to hear the whole story?
Sure.
How I got there? Okay. So I left with 150 euros in my pocket. That was all I owned. That would be around, let's say, a little bit more than $120. That was not much to go to the south, of course, but I was at that point, I decided, okay, I have no option, so just guide me, show me the way. And I started to drive. And just before I drove, by the way, I did put a message on the Facebook group where I had coached people for a very long time for free already. just by helping. I didn't want to earn anything from it. And then those people started to bring bags of stuff to me, to my van when it was still in Holland, with food, with warm blankets, with candles, name it. It was so wonderful. And so I finally left in the pouring rain with let's say $120 in my pocket. And I had no idea where to go. And then I was in the north of France, which was only 3 hours away or 4 hours away from where I lived. And I saw a little name plate that I knew, and I thought, where do I know that name from? And then I suddenly remembered that a Facebook friend of mine lived there. So I stayed, I knocked on the door, I found the address, and I was able to stay in their garden. So that was my first night, because it was a little bit scary to sleep on the street, you know. Of course, you don't really sleep on the street, but camper van can be robbed, and I'm just a girl alone, no dog, nothing, no weapons. So yeah, that was a bit scary. And so it was very interesting, because every time when the daughter and the father went to their work, the lady, only in French, wanted to talk to me with two computers next to each other to translate what she was saying. I know a little bit of French, but not that good that I can coach in it. So I coached her with a problem that she had. And after 2 or 3 days, she was feeling so great. She had been fear of the street. I don't know how you say that in English, but she had not been on the street for 25 years. She put on her coat with her husband, and we were like, what are you going to do? And she said, me, I'm going out. So that was really cool. So after 3 days, I wanted to leave. But I had a flat tire, and it was weekend, and my camper van was so big, the garage did not have my size. So I had to wait a few days, coached her again, and then I finally could leave. And then my engine fell underneath the whole car. Long story short, it took me 8 days before I could leave that wonderful family. And all those days, I coached that woman. And after those days, I could finally leave. She gave me an envelope with 360 euros in it. So I suddenly, and I did not spend my old one. So I had like, let's say $400 suddenly. And so the whole trip went like that. I was just guided to go to this person, and I received food there or shelter, and always in exchange of something. I wanted to do something back. So finally I arrived in Spain, and there it hit me that I'd lost everything. I was there all by myself. It was freaking hot. It was summer. I had no money left, because everything went into the petrol of the car, and I needed not just food, but mostly water. So I just sat there and felt numb. And at some point, I did find a little bit of coins in the sand, and then I could buy some water. This is the first time I tell this publicly, by the way. Anyway, so one day I was sitting again next to my van early in the morning in the shadow, when I had found a little bit of more money, and there was a little birdie on a pole. At first I didn't notice it, so I just walked to the supermarket to get me some water, and that birdie flew to the next pole and waited for me. And I thought, oh, that's cute. But imagine you're being numb. You don't really feel that much. Your heart is like one big ball of ice. And difficult to explain. Some people might say, get over yourself and go to work. But if you have given everything that you are, and from the love that you feel you are to helping other people, and you suddenly get in this situation, I was just sort of hard dead, if that's even a word. Yeah. So that birdie flew to the third pole and the fourth, and there were many poles, and it flew and it waited for me. And I was like, wow, I noticed it. That's beautiful. Went into the supermarket, bought myself some water and a banana, walked back, and the birdie was still there. and it flew all the way back to my camper van. And that really opened up my frozen heart. I was in awe. I was like, oh my gosh, look at this.
Mhm.
And I gave a little, I also bought a little piece of bread. Spain is very cheap, so everything was possible within 50 cents. And I gave some crumbs to the birdie, and he took it, and then he flew off. And I was not sad about it. I was just so grateful that this very strange thing happened, that it sort of opened it lifted up my frequency. And then I started to walk to the beach because I felt like I wanted to do a little bit more, maybe because I was uplifted a little bit. And then a voice in my head said very clearly, what if you would find €5 now? And I walk around the corner and there it is on the floor. That was my other moment, like, oh my gosh, it's like that. And if you have not felt that for months, it's really lovely. So with that money, I decided to go back to the supermarket again, bought myself coffee, which was really always my moment in the morning, a banana, a piece of bread for the next day. And don't ask me why, I bought a thing to write in, a notebook and a pen. Very strange thing, right? If you need food and drink. Of course, I bought water, and a big bottle as well. But I bought a notebook and a pen. I still don't know why. It must have been sold as well. So the next morning, I woke up again with this voice in my head saying, what if, imagine there's $1 million underneath your bed, hidden in this car. Of course, I turned the whole car upside down. I never found it. I did find a few coins, but no, that was it. And then it said, no, silly, just imagine and write it down in your book as if it's a journal of make-believe. So I made myself some coffee and enjoyed my banana and my piece of bread. And I wrote down in the book anything that came up. And the first thing that came up was buying a better camper van, because trust me, this was the least luxurious camper van probably in the entire planet. I will spare you the details, especially as a woman. It wasn't really nice and comfortable. Anyway, so I imagine myself a luxurious, how you call it in English, an RFV, how you call a camper van in English?
It's either a motorhome or an RV, recreational vehicle.
That one, yeah, that thing. So with a toilet and a shower and solar panels and everything. And I imagined in the story that I would go to my favorite place in the world, which is El Torcal. It's the most beautiful mountains you've ever been. And there are some wild animals there. And I was meditating there. It was not so hot. And in my imaginary story, a guy came to me and he said, do you know that every time when you're meditating, the animals come really close, like a fox and an ibex, and they don't bother that you sit there. And that was an information center up the hill, it really was. And we just are so surprised that they don't run away from you. Again, this was the imaginary story.
Mm-hmm.
So that day after writing, I received a text message because I did have a phone and somebody paid for a whole year for the internet. So I was okay. And that really helped me listen also to meditation on YouTube and Abraham Hicks kind of people. And so these people was an English couple, and they invited me for dinner and wine for an evening. And I said, no, sorry, I cannot afford that. And I'm really sorry. And they said, no, we are inviting you. We love your company. We met you last week and we would love to spend an evening with you. Please accept. So, it was something, again, uplifting. So I chose to do yes. We had a wonderful evening, and I told them about this story, about my book, about the money I found, etc. And then they said to me, so if if you're going to the mountains and if you meditate, and I told them that I also tune into nature and then have done so during this trip, they said, how does that work? How do you connect with nature? And could you show us that? And I said, yeah, sure. And would it be something for our 21-year-old son? Because he's very depressed and you've been depressed, so maybe you can help him. And I said, yeah, sure. I've been coaching for a long time, so I could at least try. And they said, would you not want to start with us first, and so we know what you're doing? I said, yeah, okay. Do you have anything tomorrow? And I said, no. I had nothing to do, you know. So I said, yeah. And then they said, what would you want to earn? And I said, earn? You just gave me food and drinks and a lovely evening. I don't want anything from you. And they said, stop that bullshit. If you are going to do this tomorrow with us, it will cost you 4 or 5 hours alone to drive there and to teach us these things. That is work. Accept it. Allow it in. And that was another thing. The first stop, as I said, with the lady that gave me an envelope with 360 euros, I also gave that back, because I said, I've lived here for 8 days. I ate your food, your drinks. I sat in your bathtub. I used your shampoo. And this woman gave me back the envelope and she said, oh, but this is not for you. This is an investment in me.
Wow.
That was the most beautiful message ever. And that was my first, wow, my first shift.
Sat on a rock in silent light. Didn't know where I was going. Didn't know that I was hiding for the love, sweet love that I am. Been running all night. Been running all night. Been running all night. High as a kite.
Right.
And so these people were my second shift. So I accepted that they wanted to pay. I kept the price low. I said 60 euros is okay, which is in Europe ridiculously cheap for 4 or 5 hours work, but okay. And lunch. So we went there. And you guess what happened? My story came true. First of all, I went to my altar call, which I wrote the day before in the story.
Mhm.
But second of all, I gave them an assignment to go into nature, and meditate was a big word for them still. So I would just keep it simple and say, just look at things and see what you get. What does it represent to you? Something like that. And each went their own way, and so did I. And I went up and I sat on a rock and I meditated, and then I heard stones drop behind me. And I looked around and there was a mother ibex with her child on a very close distance. So my story had come true.
Wow. That's incredible. That's amazing. You mentioned Abraham Hicks, and you said you guys saw some YouTube videos. What did you learn from Abraham Hicks videos?
That we are energy, and our focus in society and education is that you are a human being. You are, but it's this. And the rest that we don't see is up there in the universe.
Mhm.
And there's a spark of that universe inside of you. And that piece of universe is experiencing itself through you. Not only through you, but also the plants behind me and anything, animals. And the universe is everything, is all energies. So if you want to be something, but you are in lack, there's this thing as the law of the universe, which says that the same energies attract. So the BS that people are saying opposites attract. It's not true. The same energies attract. So if you are in lack of self-love, you will attract a partner who is in lack of self-love. It may feel like you have an incredible connection, but in truth, you feel that connection because you both missed a lot of love. So I was poor as can be in a sense of money. And then I discovered that because I had all these lift up moments and all these things from my writing journal became true, I wrote them. And when I wrote them down, I saw it. And when I saw it, I felt it. When I felt it, I am it. That's why the people connected me to have a wonderful night. That's why I earned 60 euros plus lunch. Many more things happened. I met people that had a villa exactly as I wrote it down in my journal, with a grand piano with sea view. And it just took me, do you like to see something else? We're going to our villa. If you want, you can look at it. We went in the villa and they said, we need actually someone who would like to clean it. And if tenants come, that you do the key exchange, etc. And if there are no tenants, by all means, use our villa and play on our grand piano.
Wow.
And I was coming in that room and I was like, holy shit, this is not happening. I have a grand piano with sea view. I have a grand piano with sea view. And I was clearing and they gave me 14 euros an hour, which is even in Holland a lot of money. You get 12.50 an hour for cleaning. So I was like, okay, so all these things from my book came true because I was it when I wrote it down.
Mm-hmm.
And then more things happened. People gave me a bag full of oranges or avocados, which are about €1 each. So I had 50 euros worth of avocados in my bag. I cannot eat those. This was abundance. So I became the energy of abundance. And what I started to do was I would go into town where there were many more homeless people, but real homeless in the sense that they were actually on the street, sleeping on the street or in a shelter. I at least had my car, so homeless is a big word comparing to them. And so I started to share. I started to tune in because there is this organization in Spain that pretends these people are homeless people. They're not. So I tuned in who were, and I started to talk to them. And if they were Spanish and told me their story, I was able to feel, yeah, this is really true. And I shared my oranges and my avocados with them. And because I did, I was abundance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, more things happened. And everything went up from there.
I just read an article you wrote. It appeared today. And one of the things you said is, we see the lies we tell ourselves, which you've mentioned, but what makes you great is the ability to change your perspective. And then you put in there for the readers, tell me about how it's changed you. Tell us about this changing in perspective that was occurring to you. You found abundance, you found this caring, and then you found your music again.
You know what it is? When you see yourself as not good enough, nothing changed. If you would put myself a few years back and the me next to, you would see exactly the same person. You would see exactly the same person. But I, the one that observed myself, that perspective changed, right? Because I thought, I'm not good enough. I'm highly sensitive. I feel this huge weight on my shoulder of the earth. And it feels like, and people don't believe me when I say certain things are about to happen. Or I don't see ghosts anymore, but when I was little, I did. So I felt there was something wrong with me. But now I realize, as a spark of the universe, like all of us are, there's not there's nothing wrong with me. I am greatness, not in an ego sense of way, but look at what we can do. We can change our perspective. What in the universe can do that? I mean, rocks, plants, trees, they're all amazing. But can they change their perspective about themselves? And in doing so, the whole journey I had, it became self-love.
Mhm.
And not in an egocentric kind of way, but it became love. Let's call it universal love. I am full of love. It's my gosh, it sometimes gives me butterflies, and there's not a person to project it on. It's just there, like an instant, or like a constant stream is flowing through me. Love, love, love. That is why we are here for. That is the greatness that we are, to transform the negative, the mind lies that we picked up along the way, most often very subconscious level, from our parents and the people around us. And these were beautiful people and beautiful souls. They didn't do anything wrong. Even if they did anything wrong, it was because they left from a space of not having self-love. That's what's causing all the suffering in the world, all the greed, all the fights, all the everything. But if you are self-love, pay attention, because this is the most beautiful thing I discovered lately. We help to expand Earth. Earth is evolving right now. We're going to the 4th density. And what does that mean? It means that we as a species are becoming lighter. Why do we need to become lighter? Because the Earth is about to evolve, and it scares the crap out of us. We somehow feel something's going to happen, and we have no clue what it is, and that's scary. So we put the brakes on. When we put the brakes on, the evolution will go slower. So we first, as species, need to evolve, and we do that by clearing our shit. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm Dutch.
I'm Italian. I say the same thing.
Oh, okay, then it's okay. Faffaculo. Anyway, yeah. So by clearing that, our limiting beliefs are, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm ugly, I cannot do this. All those things that are not true, because we are the universe. We are not our ego mind. We are not our thoughts. We become lighter and lighter and lighter. And in being so, we're helping the planet become lighter and lighter so it can expand. That's where we're going to. And it's just the 4th and the 5th density. And we go way more up high.
That's incredible.
That's
I think we're back.
From the ego. Probably our ego saying, be careful what you say.
Yes, be careful. We have to talk about this music, because your music is spectacular. And you said to me you were sure that this is your life purpose, but you were saying, I'm not getting any flow. And you met somebody who said, it's not your life purpose. Expand on it.
That was a moment that I was like, what? Yeah. Wow. So I've always felt that I wanted to make music from the heart. So I didn't fit into the pop scene. Although I would still want to be on a Coldplay kind of stage, don't get me wrong. Not from an ego kind of perspective, but because we can reach many people. And so I didn't understand the universe. Why, if I would want to do this from the heart, would you not give me a Coldplay or Snow Patrol kind of career, right? Because then I can help awaken a lot of people. And 2 things are going on. First of all, the universe always says it starts with you. So if you don't give the music for you, but are doing it so that other people see you, that was my first mistake. As a young child, I did music because then finally people saw me. Well, that doesn't work. And then I did it because I wanted to help people. But the universe says, what about you? I am you inside you. So the universe only gives to those, support those who see themselves as it.
Mhm.
So that's what I needed to do. I first had to see myself as the universe and then flow in music or whatever. It doesn't matter anymore. Music is a vehicle,
Mhm.
but my life purpose is a messenger of truth. I've been tuning in all of my life without calling it like that because I didn't recognize it yet. But I have actually always done so. To send messages from the universe here, to write it down in articles, to bring it into songs. And yesterday was a very beautiful day because I was preparing a post for Instagram when my higher self said, why don't you start making videos with those old songs that I have given to you in 2010. I was silent and I suddenly remembered there was 1 week that I recorded songs in which there were messages that I was not ready to hear yet. So
Mhm.
I recorded them, I listened back and I was like, what does it mean? And it was about being two persons inside of me, the ego, mind, and the soul. I now understand. So that happened yesterday. And I was like, holy wow, in 2010. And then it showed me a dia in my head with the hard disk, a yellow hard disk, where the songs are on. You have the songs, my higher self said. I plugged in my hard disk and I found them.
Oh my
I
goodness.
found those songs. In 2012, I was already awake, but I didn't know it, so I wasn't awake. But it tried to get through me. And now I understand I was chasing music. I was chasing the dream of becoming a composer, a Lady Gaga, whomever, to bring music to the audience and to help them bring love into their heart, which is a beautiful mission. But if you don't feel it yourself, it doesn't work.
Right. That's amazing. Well, folks, if you have never heard her music, you have to hear her music. You have to go to her website, listen to this. It is so inspiring. You did hit the nail on the head. You do connect at the heart, and it's just tremendous stuff. And as you said, you was this messenger of truth, and doors started opening. And one of the things I read, you wrote Biz Catalyst was one of the big connections for you, which opened up so many doors. Tell us about that.
That was really strange. So I had this reading during the first lockdown. I was locked up in Spain, and I couldn't go anywhere really because it's a police state. So they were with big machine guns on your head. What the hell are you doing here outside? So you really stayed inside. So luckily my Airbnb had a garden, so I was spending many times in the garden and reflecting, what do I want with my life? Because if there's nowhere else to go, you go inside. At least that was my and I've noticed that there was not really flow in my life. So I looked at my savings. This is only recently, so I had a little bit of money already. I had worked in the meantime and I got money. And so I did a reading with Daniel Wegner. He is from the Intuition Wisdom Institute in Australia, and he tunes in as well. I've always seen him as my twin brother because he is my masculine version. And because I feel so related to him because he does what I do, but much better because he's practiced more. I had a session with him and he was the one that said to me, music is your vehicle, but your life purpose is a messenger of truth. After that reading, I think 2 days later, Dennis from Biz Catalyst contacted me. He had heard about me through Eileen Bild, our mutual friend.
Yep.
And he had said to him, you should really contact Eyra because she has some amazing articles that would be really beautiful for the magazine. So yeah, there it was. 2 days later already, flow. And I started writing for Biz Catalyst, and there I found for the first time mind like it people. Yeah, that's English.
Like-minded people.
Like-minded people, yes, better. Sounds better. So yeah, it was the first time I sort of felt home with people. And another miraculous thing happened, that composer Tony Anderson, an American composer I have been a huge fan from for a very long time, asked me to sing on his album.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was there, that was really wonderful. I did not have my equipment to record, of course. So that became much later when I was already back in Holland, when I was finally able to travel. So that were, two big flows that were happening all of a sudden.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, Eyra, we're just about out of time. What last thoughts do you want to leave with the viewers around the world?
Try to find your life purpose and realize that a life purpose is not as big as everybody is trying to make it believe. The first thing you have to realize is that it is becoming self-love. When you really are in self-love and the energy of it, that's the most important life purpose we have. And what you do with that doesn't matter. You don't all have to become a coach. You are doing the same way, actually, with everything, with the health and the frequencies and interviewing us and bringing it out there. Biz Catalyst is doing it. So you could be a writer, you could be a coach, but you could easily be a carpenter and be at people's houses and radiate just the love that you are. And everybody who will meet your energy will feel great. And they don't know why, but it's enough. We are good enough.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible.
I love you all. Please look in the mirror and look how beautiful you are.
And love yourself.
From the roofs. Yes.
That's incredible. Well, as I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, we're just about out of time. I want to thank Eyra Moon one more time. This is just an incredible story. I've talked to her. I've read her stuff. I've listened to her music. This is an amazing woman. You need to get to know her. Now, no matter what life throws at you, and as you heard Eyra say, life can throw a lot at you. Please do 3 things. Look up, get up, never, ever give up. If you want more information about Eyra or our upcoming wellness centers, contact me. If you contact me for Eyra, I will make sure it gets to her. We are in connection quite a bit. And you can see this conversation on Roku TV or on my YouTube channel, which is Frank Zaccari. And if you use the YouTube channel, please subscribe. Now, let me leave you with this. You can also see it on Be Connected, which is a new thing Eyra and I both belong to. Now, let me leave you with this. None of us are in this alone. And the secret to walking on water is to know where the rocks are. And today, Eyra showed us where many of those rocks are. Join me again next week. We look into another life-altering event. Eyra, thank you again.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you so much.
Running all night, high as a kite. Been high as a kite all night. When I found my peace of mind, for all I left behind, there I found my love, sweet love. What I am, it's what I